And as of today, when we are talking about any economic advancement, you cannot run away from the issue of financial loans and debts. And then you will not also run away from the issue of securitization. So a country like Nigeria is not a poor country at all. And our debt profile is very minimal compared to our assets. But unfortunately, those assets are not really assessed and compiled the way they should be. So I think it's part of the responsibilities of MOFI to do that, and then we will hear from you where we are, where we're going to, and then we call for a closed session, because we have so many issues that we want to discuss with MOFI too, especially on the issue of the legacy projects that we have in this country, the Mambila hydroelectric projects, and so many other projects that are under MOFI. We are also going to ask you about the power, the energy sector, looking at what is happening with the transmission, and also the distribution companies, which of course you are the custodian of those assets.
Ajaokuta Steel Company, which we all know, and Mambila. In terms of Ajaokuta Steel, as you know, it is an entity that for over 20-something years was considered to have been 80% completed, but there are key components of it. And we're looking at taking those components and treating them as special business units. One of them is a light steel mill. If we think about what we're going to be doing in the road construction industry, as well as the housing project that we're currently working on, we're anticipating that about 7 million tons of steel will be required. We can't afford to continue to import that. And most of the imported steel is of substandard, which is why you see a lot of houses collapsing. We think that if we begin to build and produce our own steel locally, no matter how small, not only are we going to reduce how much we're importing, but we can also assure the level of quality of the steel that goes into our market. And we think that that will also prove that this is possible and we can do more. We're working with the Minister of Steel Development as well as the Minister of Finance to see how we can mobilize some initial investments to put into that as a pilot to test the light steel mill and to get it back working again. We have a team that has already been there and significant work has been done. There's been some work that UNIDO has also done in terms of assessing the feasibility of that and what it would take for us to kickstart activities in Ajaokuta Steel. In the case of Mambila, Chairman as well as other members, as you know, this is a project that held a lot of hope for Nigerians, especially in terms of the generation of power from our natural resources that we had. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of challenges with respect to the takeoff of that project. It is also one of the projects that we're looking at to diagnose and find out precisely what is it that we can do despite all of those challenges that it has experienced, as well as looking at it as an asset that has not performed as optimally as it should. But also, Chairman and other members, we need to begin to change our strategies. Sometimes some of these projects are just too huge, and the capacity to execute some of those projects may not be available. We've seen a lot of those, and we think that we need to change strategy in terms of, can we think big but start small and test it and make sure that we have a grasp of it before we actually expand our scope. Mambila is one of those projects that we're looking at as well to use that strategy to be able to move forward with that. Chairman, lastly, one of the areas of challenge that we have for Nigerians is access to affordable and long-term mortgages. Nigerians can't afford to buy homes using commercial interest rates from banks. It's just not possible. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. Neither can it happen in Nigeria. So we're working on a product which is affordable and long-term mortgage program that is being enabled by government and supported by private sector.